Yar! Welcome aboard the Cringe. I'm your captain, Joey Joey. We are about to embark on day 78 of Chores and Tours, or an island with 5 stars. So, I appreciate all the likes, subscribes, and comments. Thank you. It really helps the channel. Let's see what Isabel has to say. Oh, cool. Right. Dial proof. All right. Okay. Let's see what we have. That's right. I decided to purchase a moon rug. Okay. Let's go take those inside. I don't know. I think the moon rug is kind of cool. We already have a rug in here. Do I have one in my bedroom? No. Okay. Oh, that's cool. All right. Is that even? Okay. That looks better. Awesome. Weird, but awesome. All right. What else was I going to put away? That's right. I didn't know what this is. But it was a weird egg-looking thing. I'm not familiar with what that is. So that's kind of cool. I don't know what a Django is. If anybody knows, please feel free to let me know. The only thing I know it from is the movie series. So I'm not sure if it's anything related to it, but a spooky lantern. Oh, yeah. First, I got to read it as I'm standing over him. Okay, let's see what this is. I had this spooky tree once. Cool. Alright. Just to double check, I can't remember if I came down this way. Apparently not. Might as well do this so I don't forget. Alright. I don't know why, but I always use a shovel. Probably because I started playing that way, and it stuck. Alright. Be donating some books today. So, if you hear noise in the background, it's my washer. Like most parents. I am multitasking. Well, technically not. Go back since I started in here. Let's make sure there's nothing. I haven't had rain in about a week and a half, so. And yes, I did see the fossil. And since we're here, yeah, unfortunately, I forgot to turn my washing machine on last night when I was going to bed, which I typically do. Ah, they want me to have coffee today. Good. Haven't had coffee in this game in a while. By the way, beverage of choice is coffee. I don't dislike tea. I'm just not a fan of hot tea unless I'm sick. So, and from what I drink, tea has more caffeine, so. Oh, nice. I love it when they're all in the same area. All right. Area hole. And before I forget for tomorrow, put away. We're going to do 10. All right. I wish they had a menu so you didn't have to pull it out 10 at a time. But, you know, that's wants. It's not necessarily a need. At least in gameplay. It's all fun, though. Are you kidding me? Wow. That's rare. Well, there we go, our first weed. All right. Yeah, we'll do it backwards. We'll go over here today. And then go up and do the top. I don't really need to do much down here because the DIY was up on the hill. So this is merely just checking the backyards. And we have another log. I've had a log there about 4 times this week. These look like pretzels. At least the small, thin ones that they sell in the States. The pretzel sticks, I think. And yes, I do enjoy pretzels. I prefer the ones with peanut butter in it, but the nuggets, I think. My all-time favorite. Yeah, I don't eat a lot of snacks. I do eat tortilla chips because I make a lot of Spanish-inspired or Latino-inspired foods. Please forgive me if I don't use the proper go-to saying, but I like Spanish or Mexican style food. So we're getting real close. I think we're down to about 20 left. Yesterday we found a new one. This guy. Yeah. That's why I had to move the trees. So. And let's hope this one's a new one. An Illuminoid. I remember correctly. We'll figure it out. Yep. That's what I was looking for. So that's blue. And I have a blue one. But let's take it over there. Like yesterday, we realized we had a different color. Yep, same color. Okay. All right. We're going to go give this to Bam, since he likes blue things. And then we'll go up and finish what we're doing in the last part. So the bottom southwest of my island. A dance team jacket. Okay. Yeah, we're going to drop that off. I'm not a fan of dance team. Storage. And we're going to do this. Yeah, so if you hear the noise in the background, that's my washer. As I mentioned earlier. It didn't start, but now it is. So it sounds worse than it is. It's a fairly heavy-duty one, but so not much going on in my day today. I gonna donate some books, and then I got 2 phone calls from my son yesterday. He wanted to talk as soon as he got home from school. He ripped his books. So my son has, I'm not sure what it is, but he breaks things if he can't. If he can't, I don't know if it's anxiety or, but, so I bought him 2 new books, and for whatever reason later on that night he had a problem. So, for parents on the spectrum, stuff like this is pretty normal. Notice I'm not losing too much sleep, but you know, most parents are like that. We have a it's funny, before I had a child with autism, I never knew, right? Now I can spot it a mile away. Sometimes even before the parents, but you don't, obviously we don't, and when it comes to autism, I pretty much stay in my lane. And the reason why is because every version of autism is different. I'm under the belief that profound autism you might call it level 3 or severe. That type of autism needs to be broken apart from the from the less affected types. I think, you know, level 1 folks are not, you know, they're minimally affected, so, to me, there's a big distinction between profound and other forms of it. So, but I'm under that belief. But then again, I'm a parent with one. So. Anyways, I do enjoy certain parts of autism, you know. And when I say that, it's, you know, it keeps our younger children kind of younger longer in some ways. My son is like toddler level functioning, so for me, it's like walking into when he was a 2-year-old, right? Right. He can communicate though, which is rare. I worked really hard on making that happen. And that's all I can say. It was hard. Lots of sight words, lots of flashcards, lots of words on one side, pictures on the other. Right? I did hours and hours of that. Not necessarily all in one day, right? But hours making it and hours, you know, like an hour a day or 15 minutes a day. We would do it in sessions, right? Like 10 minutes, then you get to play, 10 minutes, then you get to play. And we would work on it until he understood. And then we would switch the cards. And then at the end of the week, we would go back and see what we learned. Right? Yeah, lots of that. Math, he did something called touch math. And it's essentially numbers with little dots on it. And it was like 1 through 5. And if you had to count a dot twice, they were bigger. And he can do basic math and basic addition and subtraction. He doesn't retain it well. Right. But he has done it. So. Single bubble you count once, double the size bubble you count twice. So that's how you do your upper numbers like 6, 7, and 8. 9. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's some really cool, and that's how in my head I do math. Like if I'm counting something. Okay, so bake. And what is this one? I have solemn. Yeah, we'll just, we got to move this stock, so. Yeah, we'll do that one. I am buying a lot of useless artwork. Yeah. So even on the severe end, going back to the discussion on my son, even on the severe end, there's a variety, right? So my son is verbal. It's very specific language that he knows and he uses. He can recognize letters. He can recognize letters that he wants, and he recognizes words, right? So he knows Zootopia. He knows what he's looking for, right? So his receptive abilities are really good, but he can't. The easiest way to put it is he can't utilize that and say it out back to others. So. Lullaby, you rumbling belly. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, going back to the stuff with my little guy, I put a lot of time in. I'm not saying other parents didn't or don't. But my thinking is, and the way I was raised, is my dad sat with me every night to do homework. So after dinner, or even before dinner, my parents would sit with us at the table, or maybe before. I can't really remember too much, but I know they used to sit with us. So I think before my parents got home, we would do the homework, and stuff we were struggling with after dinner, they would help us. Right? They would sit down and kind of go through the process of, oh, cool. They would go through that process with us and help us. And my mom used to be a substitute. She was rough, man. Whew. This was back in the day of liquid paper. My mom did not believe in liquid paper. She would rip it up and we would do it again. Yeah, that's a... Now we do everything on computer, which is not bad. I don't have an issue with that. It just goes to show how time changes. But for what it's worth, my parents used to say the same thing. Right? You kids have it lucky. We had that full World Book Encyclopedia. And now everything is fingerprints online. Which is great because it saves a lot of paper, right? Technology's awesome when it works for you. It's funny, so when I started school and when I finished my degree, you know, you always had to have Word, Microsoft Word or something like it. Now you just use Google. Schools give it to you free. You got an email account. So you had everything at your fingertips you needed. So you could use Google Docs and then all that stuff to help you. You didn't need to pay for anything. I paid for a Grammarly subscription. when I was in school. This was before IA, right? Or AI stuff. You know, I would take my own words, and then after I'm done writing it, and only after I'm done, I would have Grammarly give me advice on how to word things. It didn't correct everything with grammar, though. I still got a lot of problems. The other thing I used was something called Perla. If you had papers that had to be written college formats, Perla was a... It started out as a word formatter, right? So all of your papers would be formatted in whatever style. You just had to select it before you started writing, right? So let's say I had an APA styled format or an MLA styled format. I'd have to select that. And then I could start, and then it would automatically save your references, right, in Perla. And Perla spelled Perrla. And what it would do, depending on which format you used, your references would be styled in that format. So that's why you had to select. So your references were saved, so you never had to type them in again. That was a lifesaver. And you could constantly use things that you've already used to help you write paper. So that was a benefit. So all it did was basically it asked you questions to help set up your format, right? Like, do you have to have a cover sheet? Yes or no? What do you need to have on your cover sheet, right? And you would select the items you needed. So, cool. I thought I already had that. Huh. Unless I got it as a gift. Wow, I have a lot of these things. Yeah, I have that. Huh. Maybe I got it as a gift. So those are the two things. Grammarly I paid for. And essentially Grammarly was, you used to go see a writing aid while you were in school to help you format papers. It took all that out, right? I could do it from a push of the button. So Grammarly just gave me advice, you know, and you either accept it or you don't. Sometimes it was wrong. There are a lot of times it was wrong. But it wasn't anything IA, right? You didn't, or AI. You didn't need, like, it didn't give you it didn't create words for you to write, right? You had to have your writing in there, and it basically gave you ways to improve what you had, right? So it didn't use, right? It didn't create words for me. Which AI does that for you. But that is not, you know, that wasn't available. And so I never used it. But I only used it to help me improve what I wrote. And that actually helped my grades. So between the formatting, I was writing B level, like letter B grades. Pretty typical. I was making a lot of format issues. So Perla helped me correct the format, right? It automatically formatted the paper for me, so all I had to do was write. which took a lot of stress off. And then I would write my work, and then I would, use Grammarly to give me advice on how my writing needed to be improved. And it had a plagiarism checker in it too, so that was extremely helpful. Because sometimes as you're writing, you don't realize, I'm not lifting people's quotes or anything, but, certain word patterns can be plagiarized. So, but anyways, Perla helped you improve what you wrote. Right? It was like spell check. You know what? I'm going to keep this for Halloween. Take those back to my... And I'll keep that too. We're getting into Halloween, so I'm going to keep a lot of this. Yeah, so those are the two things I had to help me get through college. Because if I had to worry about format or clearing a paper using the format, I would have had too many errors. Perla also had this thing in it. So it's just a software program where it formatted your paper and it saved your references. But it also had a really good planner, right? So you could write a paper and you just gave it the specifics, like, so with the planner, I would set up when the paper's due, when I wanted to have the paper complete, and it would break apart tasks like research, due in 2 weeks, and thesis, right, statement due in a week, that kind of stuff. So it broke it down. So like it started with your thesis, then it went and said references are due by here, and then it said, opening paragraph, and it broke it down in an outline format, which it was really neat. So you could work your outline, right? You could develop your thesis, then it says write your outline, find your references, that kind of thing. So you find your references, write your outline, and then it would break down the specific parts of the paper. So it planned out a paper for you, which I've never done before. I did, but usually was cramming. And that really helped change the style of how I write papers, right? Little bites, right? You don't need to write the paper in all one night if you plan it out, right? And that actually helped me improve my writing and my research. So that, just for that alone, I would have paid for Perla anyways. Storage. Yeah, it's really interesting. The guy who created it was a student, and he was like, there's got to be something better than this. And so he wrote the program while he was in school, and I think he was going through for either nursing or optometry, and that's why it's called Perla. And so one of his professors recommended that he make it a business, and that's what he did. So he created his business while he was in college. He was older, right? But still pretty cool. Yeah, but I've been using Perla forever. That is the one piece of software I recommend every college student that is going for a sciences type degree. That is the one thing I strongly recommend they do, is get Perla. It doesn't work with everything. Like, it doesn't work with the Chicago style. Um, you know, so, but it typically worked with MLA and APA. So it really helped. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it there, and we will see you tomorrow. Hey, thanks for listening for me. Have a good day. Hey, that's my reminder to make content. So, you guys have a good day. Bye.